And this is Kc9Vkv Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor with our Friday morning Qso-Vlog transmission and recording. If you might want to hear what your station sounds like, give us a call. We are recording and we'll be posting it on YouTube. This is Kc9Vkv.
Kc9Vkv, hello, not working. Kc9Vkv, this is Whiskey 4, November, Charlie, Quebec.
Whiskey Charlie, Quebec, Roger, Roger. The name here is Jim, Roger.
Hi, Jim. For some reason my ALC is acting poorly. Let me check I don't know what it is. Anyway, my name is Alan. I'm in Black Mountain near Asheville, North Carolina. You recorded me 2 months ago, I think. I don't get on that often. I'm just kind of a rag chewer, and it was really, really good to hear that. No need to do it again if it takes any effort. I don't understand why my ALC is not moving, but there's something not just right. But I guess you can copy me okay.
Roger, Roger. Yeah, you might want to fatten up just a little bit. You have a very large dynamic range. Might want to maybe run that compressor as a limiter. Maybe if you have a 0 to 10 running at about a 3 to try to fatten up that dynamic range just a little bit.
You know what? I'll tell you what, I think I have everything set the way that I usually do, and I checked the SWR, it's okay. Usually when I have the mic gain at this setting, and I'm speaking this far from the mic, my LC operates as it normally does, between 50 and 75%, and now it's like 5 to 10%. However, my peak reading watt meter, both of them, one built into the AL-80B and then an external PAL-Star, are showing peaking up to about 700 watts. And when I was in the dummy load, I loaded in the CW mode 700. So I'm peaking as I should, but the ALC is not moving. Now, if I want to get close to the mic like this, now the ALC is acting normally, but my peak power did not increase at all, and I bet I'm distorted.
Negative, no. What's happening is your ALC reading is correct. You're running like only about 5% limiting, 5% auto level control, which you want to be in the mid scale of that, which is part of the compression limiting situation. Your dynamic range is just flowing from 0 to 100. Where you probably normally want to have a little fatter signal, maybe about a 3 dB dynamic range, which would fatten the signal up as opposed to just reading without any kind of processing at all. The radio, obviously, you want to get the best performance out of the radio that you can, and if you can fatten up that audio signal just a little bit, it helps down the road, and it helps all over,
Well, age here is 70, and I got a lot of prejudices and habits, and a lot of them are bad. And one of them is that I hate compression. If signals are good, there's no interference, and signals are strong, because the audio just sounds smooth and more natural. To me, compression is for like DX and difficult conditions. I always like a signal with no compression. So I like a wide dynamic range. It sounds more like you're sitting and talking to the guy in your living room. And that's that's great if signals are really strong and there's no interference. But if conditions aren't real good, well, that's when compression comes in. I rarely run compression.
Oh, Roger. Well, I'm not talking about, suck up the vacuum cleaner and 3 rooms away. I just mean a little transparent processing. That's the thing. You don't want stuff sucking up between your words, but at the same time, just a little cap on that peak, and just a little fattening, but obviously you sound great like you are, and but I'm just saying, down the road you might want to fatten up just a little bit, Roger.
Yeah, and I may. I was up late last night. I couldn't sleep, and when I get to sleep, I only been up about less than an hour, so maybe my voice hasn't warmed up. I don't know, but the ALC meter is acting funny, but I don't care. It seems to me that if I load it using in the PW or RIDI or to a certain output power, and then when I speak, if my peaks hit that most of the time, then that's the way it should be. So I guess I'll leave it alone. So just from when things are strong, when people say turn their processor totally off and then on, I almost always like it off. For example, I'd like to hear A/B. Do you have one switch you can throw to turn your processor so that you're not processing at all? Can you A/B for me?
No, you wouldn't believe the the setup here. I have more stuff tied to this input than the law allows, and then running a kilowatt next door to it is, it's a Herculean feat. I've probably got 5 or 6 things on the input and 5 or 6 things on the output. But if you were to speak closer to the microphone and looking in your ALC position to where you then begin to process at about 50% or about mid-scale on the meter movement, I'd like to hear that, Roger.
Well, this is the way I usually speak, and the ALC is mostly on the peg and occasionally goes as high as 5% right now. And my both peak reading watt meters are hitting about 700 watts, which is good as it'll do with this amount of driving power. Now, I'll do what you suggested. I'm about 6 inches from the mic. Now I'm 2 inches, 1 inch from the mic. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exactly the same peak power, but the ALC is hitting about 75%. Do you notice the difference?
Oh yeah. Your audio just fattened up a bunch. I mean, you just got so much louder. This similarly or seemingly louder. Obviously, your peak is still the same, but your average peak modulation comes up to about 60 or 70% when you're running your ALC in the mid position, Roger.
Comment? I understand, but how does that translate to? How does it sound as far as fidelity? That is a voice that you'd like to listen to, natural sounding, no artificial exaggeration. Just like if I was talking next to me, is this kind of unnatural when I'm talking real close? And is this a more natural and nicer sounding? Obviously, it doesn't have the punch. It's not going to cut through as well. But doesn't this sound better or not?
No, negative. You sound much better running about mid-scale on your ALC. And there's a brake station out there. Let him go. Go ahead, brake station.
Sir, this is L9GTO. I wanted to advise you that you're talking to Kc9Vkv, his middle initial. We just released him from the Central State Hospital about 6 months ago. You are dealing with a full-blown production manager of WHAS radio, and your audio sounds broadcast. He's blowing me out over here because he's giving me a 60 over. He's damn near running 10,000 watts over there because I know the guy that built the tuba that he's running. So I just wanted to advise you that you are talking to Dr. Frankenstein, and my name's Lou. How do you do? And the call is N9GTO.
N9GTO. Okay, Lou, I didn't get that message clearly. I'm talking back from the mic, hardly any ALC at all, the way I normally talk, and now I'm talking up where the other station likes it better. Do you like it like this, or do you prefer it back farther?
No, sir. I prefer the full ALC. You sound like a broadcast station. Over.
Oh, okay. So this is not the full ALC. This is the full ALC. This is what you prefer.
Yes, it's unbelievable, and I'm on an 80-meter inverted a double bazooka. I'm using a homebrew tuner in line with a 7300, no power, about 65 watts, and I'm 3 miles east of Jim Fergusson. Over.
Okay, well then you and the other station agree that I should be talking close to the mic. Something has changed. I have to go back and see what I did. It didn't used to be this way. I'm running a dipole at about 65 feet. It's in the woods, and it's got kudzu growing on it, and it's got kudzu growing on the ladder line that's feeding it, and that results in having to, even though it's a resident antenna, I have to put the tuner in there to tune out the kudzu. The rig is a Yaesu 3000. I'm using just the EQ. It has a 3-band equalizer, parametric equalizer, and all I'm using is that equalization. And I am running an AL-80B. It'll do 1100 watts EP, and I'm running about 700, and that's it. And I'm talking close to the mic, as both of you gentlemen prefer, and about 75% ALC. And my bandwidth is set at 100 to 2900. Over.
Alan, I would leave everything setting the same and run that ALC at the mid position. Between that and 65%, 65% in there, you sound beautiful. Now we are recording this morning for our Qso-Vlog, and if you would like to hear yourself, we'll be posting this in the next couple of days. If you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will bring up our Qso-Vlog page, and this vlog will be entitled My Group, with today's date 8/10/18 and the frequency 7189. Roger.
Okay, I just 1 moment. Okay, I'd like to make a test here, and then I don't want to type the frequency. I am talking close to the mic, about 50-75% ALC. What I'm going to do is I'm going to back away to 6 inches the way I normally talk and increase my mic gain until I achieve the same ALC. So right now I've got the lower mic gain and I'm close to the mic. The ALC is about 60%. Now I've backed off from the, 1, 2, 3. I've backed off from the mic, but I've increased my mic gain, and the ALC is also the same, 60%. You hear a difference?
Yeah, starting to hear just a little bit of the room. you know, the further back you work from the mic, other things start to come into play, like the echo bounce of the room. Not very much, but just a little bit. But there are other aspects that could be a problem. You know, a lot of times our Radio Shacks are not prime sound rooms. You know, and we have things like dogs, cats, and you know, all kinds of things to kids to deal with. So usually, you know, a closer mic situation is probably less distracting than one further away. But obviously, if if your Radio Shack does not have those competitions in the audio range, then you could, you know, run it wherever you feel comfortable. I run it right on top of the microphone with a windscreen, so I can't get any better average percentage of modulation, the consistency of it, because I am right there. There is no plus or minus inches. You know, I'm constant from you know, the get-go. So, but you know, obviously, I think the key is the ALC. If you run the ALC in the mid-range position, 50-60%, that will help your signal immensely, whether you're close mic'd or back off. Roger.
Could you back off like 2 inches? Let's hear you.
I'm sorry, I doubled with somebody. Go ahead.
Hold on, I was just going to get Jim. Jim, sir, I liked it when you were close talking the mic. I liked it better. And again, I'm not on a good antenna, so I'm on a wrong antenna. But Mr. Fergusson, could you give us a 2-inch back off of the mic and let's hear it?
Roger, I'm 2 inches off the mic now. I'm 2 inches off the mic now, and now I'm on top of the mic. Roger, roger.
So 2 inches off the mic, Jim, you sound like Bob Howe and Rush Limbaugh. I just want to make it.
Yeah, 2 inches is a significant improvement.
SDR, and I'm running the
and I'm taking your suggestion. I'm close talking the mic now, but I have backed the mic gain down.
About him being 2 inches off the mic, over.
You guys doubled for a lot of that, Lou, or what did you say?
You being 2 inches off the mic, your signal got 1,000,000 times cleaner and better. It was unbelievable. And again, we're close, but I'm on the wrong antenna. The other gentleman down there you're talking to, did you notice the same thing when Jim went 2 inches off his mic, sir?
Yes, Jim he sounded just beautiful at 2 inches. A great improvement. He sounded, when he was up close, I could hear breath noise and I heard harshness. Now it's nice, mellow, it's just really nice. That moving back 2 inches made all the difference.
All right, let me do something here. This is a little different setting there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A little different setting. Roger.
Yeah, the harshness is there, and I don't hear breath noise. I don't think, but it's like it's just too hot. I liked it when you moved that first move you made back 2 inches. That's the best I've heard you.
Yes, go back here, Jimmy. Don't put it back where it was and go back 2 inches.
All right, this is I'm looking at the modulation meter. This is a -5. This is a -5 right here. Roger.
Still too high.
Well, I mean, take the processor off in a -5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That is Jim Fergusson.
Yeah, well, that in a quarter will get you nothing.
Jim, let me tell you, you're giving me a 40 over, and with all the other stuff, what you're doing is you're pushing the signal up past 3.1. With what you're doing right now, your signal is topping out at 3 kcs. You're 100 to 3 kcs, and when you push it, you're pushing the signal out of all the energy needs to be within the 3 kc bandwidth, and when you're pushing it past 3 kcs, and it's got the noise breath and everything else. I love to hear your voice like it does in the tornado area. And by the way, sir, if you go to Jim's vlog and type in the April 3rd tornado, you'll hear Jim at the true voice of what he is. And what happens is Jim Fergusson and myself are both Dr. Frankensteins. We're our worst enemy. And the meters are lying to Jim. Jim's saying one thing, but we have to go by, we see, hear, and speak in frequency, and we have to go by other people's opinions. And, sir, when you were close talking your mic before with the ALC down there, my name's LOU-N9GTO, and I didn't get your name, sir, but you were unbelievable. And then Jim came off 2 inches, and if he would have left everything alone, he would have been the great WHAS.
Well, yeah, I agree. The first move he made before he did anything, and I asked him, or no, maybe you asked him to move 2 inches back. Now, the way he sounded then, it was perfect, and that's really natural and nice. It's not punchy. It's not going to get through piles of QRM. It's not going to win any contest, but it sounded gorgeous. And any change he made after that wasn't as good. But that, it's a personal thing. That's just what I like to hear, and it might have something to do with the way I have, because my receiver is adjustable. The carrier points can be adjusted, and I have low cut and high cut receive that I can throw in. I've got some of that on there, so a lot of it may have to do with my receiver. I'm listening at 3.0, and so if somebody is broadcasting a fairly broad signal or good fidelity, I can hear most of it. But anyway, everybody sounds good. It's just that we're just kind of picking stuff up, and I don't really understand the theory that much. What I do is I transmit to another receiver. It's an old Kenwood 870, which has a lousy digital processing because it's their first attempt, and it's old rig and a high noise floor, but excellent audio. And what I'll do is I'll transmit into a dummy load and put a few inches of wire on the 870, and then I'll record on my computer using a sound recorder, and then listen to that. And I adjust my audio so that I like what I hear. It's not necessarily going to be what other people like. So audio is such a personal thing, and I know as I get older, I lose some of my highs, and I like more highs than a 40-year-old guy would. So anyway, but there's not a right and a wrong way. But when he backed off 2 inches, I liked it. You have excellent audio. You're not real strong, but that's because you're not running a lot of power. I'm in the mountains here, and so 700 watts in a dipole when you're up at 2,400 feet is okay. The problem is there's no directivity. I wish I had some kind of a phased array, but I tried that a couple times and never got it to work. W4NCQ near Asheville.
Well, Alan, you're sounding good now. Are you running about that 50% on the ALC?
I'm running about 50% on the ALC. I have turned my mic gain down and gotten closer to the mic because both you guys seem to like that better. But the ALC is running about 50 to 60%.
Roger. Sounds really good. I'd leave it just like that. Yeah, I think the ALC reading is your, is the keystone to everything. If you run that ALC at about 50%, you'll be in good shape.
Hey, Jim.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got a question for you. Is it illegal to me to ask my neighbor across the street to run weed eater string all the way across the street and then run it back to my antenna and pull it up across the street so that I'll be able to put my antenna back together the way it was?
Well, gosh, I don't know. It just depends on how fast you are.
Well, I mean, is it illegal?
I don't think so. I mean, you know, if a car comes along, it's just going to pull your radio down the road.
No. If I was to go over, I'd block the road off. I'd put the vehicle sideways. I'm going to do it today. Remember how we had the tree out there, and I just wanted to make sure, because everybody's telling me, and the AM transmitter does not like where the antenna is. See, I've got one double bazooka pointed east and the other one pointed north, and the AM transmitter does not like it at all. I'm hearing all kinds of crazy stuff. So it wants the antenna to be, you know, north, south, east, or west. So I'm going to have to go back. I have an 800-foot row of O90 weed-eater string, so I'm going to go across the street here in a minute and ask the neighbor if I can just go on and shoot a line over there and just get that antenna back up in the air. I just wanted your thoughts on it. I mean, if it snaps, all it's going to have is weed-eater string coming down over.
Yeah, Roger, but you're not permanently putting an antenna over the street, Roger?
No, it's just a weed-eater string that's going to be holding it up on my property.
Roger, I wouldn't think so, but ultimately you won't have anything going over the street, right?
No, it'll be about 90 feet above, 60 feet above the street.
Oh, but you will have something that goes across the street.
Yes, going to a tree across the street, yes.
I don't know. That's it's kind of a gray area there, you know. You're over the utilities right away, Roger.
All utilities are all in the back.
Well, you still have a highway right-of-ways.
Yeah,
60 feet up in the air, and being O90 weed-eater string, it's only good for a couple $100. Something goes wrong with it, just snap and come down, and all the antenna would be in the yard only. It wouldn't be on the property, right?
Oh, Roger. Alan, go ahead.
I'm almost positive if the antenna itself cannot be directly above the highway, so that if something breaks, that the actual antenna could fall in the street. And I'm pretty sure that goes for the weed eater. I think I might do it myself because it's not a big deal. I don't think you'd get into a lot of trouble. Technically, I think it's illegal to have the antenna or supporting wires over a public highway. You can think of a kid on a bicycle. What if that comes and hits him about neck high? That weed eater string could do some damage, even if it just had him lose his balance, and you could get sued. But I think that's very unlikely. It's something I might do, but I think it's not legal. I'll tell you, as far as legality, I'm trying to get my commercial drone license, and boy, there's a lot of regulations there. And I crashed my drone not too long ago, and I'm trying to glue slippery plastics, polyolefins, polypropylene, polyethylene, and it's very, very difficult. I changed subjects there, sorry.
That's right. I just wondered if Lou had anything to add to that.
Well, the string would be 90 feet or 60 feet above the street. It's a two-lane road, a little cul-de-sac. It's not a highway. It's a two-lane road, 20-mile-an-hour speed limit. And the weed-eater string would be approximately, again, non-metallic weed-eater string, O90, a couple $100 string. It would be about 60 feet above the property. And again, it's a cul-de-sac. And I just thought maybe, what your thoughts are on that, over.
Yeah, why can't you just wrap that on down the backside of your tree?
The tree's gone, Jimmy. They took the tree out.
I personally, I would go ahead and do it the way you describe it there. I think it's not legal, but I don't think it's dangerous, and I think I would go ahead if I were you and do it. I'm not advising you to do it, but I'm just saying I would probably do exactly what you're doing. Technically, I think it's illegal, but it's better to do what's safe and what's smart than to follow the letter of the law exactly sometimes. So I don't have a problem with what you're doing.
Well, there you go, Lou. You got a consensus of opinion that it's probably what we would do, but we're not telling you to do it.
tell you what I would do. I tell you, if there's a way you could do it, and it's the principle that I use when I'm hanging antennas with my drone. What you've got to do is you've got to always be working with, have a breakaway that is weaker than the lift power of the drone. So if the antenna, the wire that you're hanging or that you're working with, caught in the tree, you don't end up hanging your drone, a $1,500 drone, 100 feet up in the tree. So you've got to have, and so I put in a little piece, a few inches maybe sometimes, of like 8-pound test fishing line to lift the first piece of line, and then I pull progressively stronger stuff. But I have a breakaway, so that's something that you could do possibly if you had it such a thing that there was a tension, an elastic cord spring, a weight and pulley system on one side, and then on the other side of the antenna, that is, the weed eater string goes over the road, and then before it's tied to whatever it's tied to, put a weak link that's going to break before anything else. And so if that antenna blows down for some reason, it's going to break there, and the weight or spring system is going to pull that back off, and it won't fall on the road. It'll be pulled to the other side.
Right, and that's what would happen here. If the antenna would come down, it would pull both the weed ear string and the antenna into my property. Based on my measurements, at any given point, if the antenna was to become faulty, at that point, and I agree with you, I was going to use a leader off of a fishing line that was rated for 20 pounds, and it's got 2 little clips. If anything should exceed that 20-pound rating, the leader would break loose, and it's got a swivel on it. So, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. You use crankbaits with, and I was going to use that as a breakaway point. Over.
That's perfect. Yeah, that's exactly what I had in mind. You have that weak link on the far end of the weed eater string, and so if there's any stress on it, somebody pulls on your coax, the wind blows hard or whatever, if anything breaks, it's going to be that weak point, which is on the far side of the street. And as the antenna falls, everything is going to be pulled so that nothing falls on the street. That's the way you've got it set up, and that's exactly what I would do. That would certainly be safe and might even be legal.
Roger, roger. All right, guys, let me say 73s to you, because I need to get out and get it done, because I'm not having a good time on ham radio ever since the tree was removed in the front yard. And it's just not been fun for me. So God bless 73s, Jim Fergusson, and to all who is listening and watching YouTube. 73s from November 9, Golf Tango Oscar.
Roger, roger. Now, this is for 80 meters or for 40?
It's for both. It covers both of them, 80 and 40. It has 2 of them tied together. One is 3 feet below the other one on the tower at 70 feet, and it covers both bands. It's a double bazooka made out of RG11 with a 3/8 aluminum tubing on the end for the high voltage nodes, tuning studs. Over.
All righty. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing you without static, man. You're my next door neighbor, but you are in the noise, Roger.
Roger. Well, I'm only running 65 watts on the 7300 with the hand mic, and I'm running on an 80-meter double bazooka. So, you know, totally a different situation here, and I'm using a Versa Verter 2, a little cheap MFJ tuner that the daughter got for me years ago, a 300-watt tuner setting below the 7300 to prevent any kind of issue. 73s, and God bless.
Roger, roger, sir. Good to talk at you. Have a good day. Be careful getting that antenna up there. So, Alan, let me say 3s to you, sir. I think we've resolved the world's issues, and your audio is sounding beautiful, and we will be posting this in the next couple of days up to YouTube. So if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kc9Vkv, it'll bring it up, and the title will be today's date, 81018 and the frequency 7189. Roger, roger.
Okay. By the way, the other gentleman, his signal was very weak, really Q5, but excellent quality, and it's not surprising. That 7300 using the hand mic that comes with it is just an amazing rig for as far as cost benefit. I'll tell you what, if I was buying a new rig, I'd buy a 7300 and use the stock hand mic. Every one I hear just sounds beautiful. He just needs some power in the wire, and you sound like maybe you've backed off slightly from the mic because you sound really good now. Not as breathy as before. So you made some change for the better. I think you might have backed slightly off from the mic. You sound really good. Right now, my emphasis is on I'm addicted to two things. One is YouTube videos, especially funny cat videos. I watch YouTube by the hour. I waste more time. There's just so much cool stuff there. From people trying to make homemade explosives and blowing themselves up to homemade fireworks and strapping jet engines on cars and killing themselves. I just love to watch some people do stupid stuff on YouTube. And drones. I'm having a lot of fun with this drone here. The problem is they're made out of polyethylene and polypropylene primarily, and it's very, very difficult to glue when they break. And they break a lot because you crash a lot if you're pushing it, and it's no fun if you don't push it. And they make glues. I was talking to an engineer, as a matter of fact, who works for Henkel, who makes Loctite glues for Loctite, and a lot of people. They're kind of like a research lab. And he was telling me how to glue plastics. I'm using his scheme but it still doesn't make a very strong bond, and I'm a little concerned right now that the last repair I made could break, and if I'm 400 feet in the air, and if it's the structural part of the drone, part of it's going to drop sideways, and I don't know what the drone's going to do. That's a long fall, so that concerns me a little bit. So I've got to do a little more study, a little more work with bonding plastics. The one way is to actually melt them together, to fuse them together, but that has its own problems. Anyway, they are flammable. So OFA 73s, enjoyed talking about audio, and I like ham radio, and I like drones, and I like to watch YouTube. Just like you'd watch YouTube, just like you'd watch cartoons. I guess I'm regressing to childhood here. I don't know. Anyway, 73s to everybody. I'm going to get out of here too. It looks like a nice day out there. I'll take the drone out and get some footage and do some practice, so I have a chance of passing my commercial FAA exam. This is W4NCQ in Black Mountain, near Asheville, North Carolina.
Roger, roger. Alan 3's that away, sir. Have yourself a good day. Good to hear you in there, and we'll catch you maybe next Friday and explore other aspects of ham radio or whatever. Just keep that ALC at about the mid position. 3 is, catch you later. It's Kc9Vkv.
Okay, Kc9Vkv. Yeah, you sound really good, and I'm doing exactly what you said. I'm keeping it about 56%, and I'm only about an inch from the mic, and I reduced the mic gain to achieve that, and which is what you guys recommended, and apparently it's working. 73, I'm going to pull the big switch here. W4NCQ QRT.
3s. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor with the Friday morning Qso-Vlog, actually going into Friday afternoon now for another few minutes. If you have a station, you want to hear what it sounds like, we are running our Qso-Vlog recorder, and we are recording this Qso. If you give us a shout, we'll copy it down and post it on YouTube. So this is Kc9Vkv standing by. I think I hear a station way off in there. Station calling. Come back and try again, please. Nothing heard, nothing above my noise level anyway, so we will say 3s for now. I have enjoyed it this morning, and we will be posting these Qsos on YouTube in the next couple of days. If you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, that'll bring up the Qso-Vlog page, and this Qso will be called My Group 81018, the date, and the frequency 7189. So 3's all. This is Kc9Vkv, clear.
And I'd like to end this Qso, and please don't turn it off right now, by saying that amateur radio is fun in the beginning and in the end, because we get to revisit our childhood through amateur radio. And it's a great hobby, especially if you don't drink or smoke like Lou, and the nerd that I am. I want to say God bless to all who's listening as well. And 73s from N9GTO.
Roger, Roger. 3's over that way. Take it easy on them trees, Roger.
I'm going to go over and bribe my neighbor. One way or another, I'm going to bribe my neighbor into letting me put the damn thing up.
Roger, Roger. And I'm still starving to death for lunch, but, you know, go ahead. We'll do it sometime.
Well, you know, I'm starved to death, too. How about if I just come over and meet you at Burger King right now and I even pay for it?
Sounds good to me, man.
I'll see you at Burger King in 15 minutes.
You got it. See you there. 3's.
On your road. On your road. Yeah, Burger King where you live at. N9GTO clear.
Absolutely. Catch you later. Kc9Vkv. You see you guys clear. Who is that mumbling back there?
Kilowatt America 4 Delta.
4 Delta station. This is Kc9Vkv. Now don't make me late for lunch.
Okay, I just wanted to holler at you. Real strong down here in East Tennessee. I'm not too far from Gatlinburg, the little town of Wallen, kind of southwest of Knoxville, and you got a really good signal, 5.9++. We're running barefooted. Wyndham antenna and a new radio about 2 days ago, ICOM 7300, and the name is Bill, over.
Roger, Bill. Well, you've got the right radio. You have the right radio there. A lot of good comments about that radio. And we are doing our Qso-Vlog recording, just wrapping up. So you will be able to hear that if you want to. Go to YouTube. We'll be posting in the next couple of days. So if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, that will bring up our Qso-Vlog page. And on that page there will be one show that is listed as My Group 81018, the date, and 7189, the frequency. Roger?
Okay, thanks a lot. And we'll try to do that. And getting familiar with this radio, which I'm learning every day a little bit more about it. So we really like it so far, and we do have an amp, but it's not tuned up for this frequency. So we'll let you run. I know you want to eat, and we've had lots of rain down here. I was hoping to get some yard work done today, but it's too wet. We've had about 1 inch of rain this morning. 73 Ka4D.
Roger, Roger. 3's down towards Gatlinburg. You have a good day, sir, and we'll catch you later. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. Will be clear for the morning.